Hey guys, I am Black Ops Amazing. Welcome back to another Zombies Q&A on the channel, the series where we take your questions from the comment section below to do with the Zombies storyline, Easter eggs, and answer them. As always, if you enjoyed today's video, only if you want to, of course, drop a like rating, it really helps. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest videos on the channel. But without further ado, let's get right into this. Here we go. So the very first question of today from Hassan Khan says, in Kino, why does Dempsey refer to the player when requesting ammo? So this doesn't only happen in Kino der Toten, he does it in quite a few of the older maps, whether it's the Giant, Shinonuma, or if we go over to Black Ops 1, he says similar things. But basically, if you were unaware, what this is breaking the fourth wall. And Dempsey is the only one out of our characters that does this. If you don't know what the fourth wall is, it's kind of difficult to explain, but for example, if you were at a theatre watching a play, it is the imaginary wall between you and the actors. So whilst the audience can see through the wall, we know the actors are there, we are watching them, the actors cannot. It's almost like they're in their own world. They don't know about these people watching them. And it's the same for video games, or I guess television. The fourth wall in this instance would be the screen. So instead of watching a play, this time we're playing a video game with these characters behind the screen. We can see them through the wall, but they can't see us. They don't know they exist. They think, well, they're acting like they're in their own world. However, like I said, Dempsey breaks the fourth wall, and occasionally he will say quotes referencing us, basically saying that he knows we are here, we are watching them. He will mention the players, and as you said in this comment, he will say things like, hey player, get me some ammo. So yes, Dempsey does break the fourth wall. He's the only character to do this. It's quite funny, and it's not something that really happens in video games. I believe sometimes he mentions Treyarch and stuff like that as well, so that's what it means. Pokemon Slayer says, BOA. Why is there a zombie up on the catwalk above the stage on the BO2 rock and roll campaign ending? So I had absolutely no idea what you were on about. It's been years since I played the Black Ops 2 campaign, and it's been since the game released in 2012 since I've actually completed it. So I had to go back and take a look at what you were on about, and just doing this brought back so many memories of how cool this campaign actually was. Yes, I don't think it was as good as Black Ops 1. That for me is probably one of my all-time favorites, but Black Ops 2's was definitely good, especially when it went back in time. And one of my favorite things about it was the fact that it had multiple different endings. So depending on the choices that you made in game, I believe there are 4 different endings that you can get. I'm not going to fully explain them all, but one of them is where everyone basically lives, or almost everyone, and it's kind of like the happy ending. Instead of killing Menendez, you keep him alive. The worst ending, which you can get if you kill Mason, you don't save Chloe, and you keep Menendez alive, well, it's basically the total opposite, where nothing ends up good for anyone. No one has any idea how to stop Worm. Menendez escapes, and then as we saw, he goes to pay Woods a visit. I think we all know what happens there. The third ending is a little bit more boring, where Mason gets to meet his father, but the world is up in chaos. And then the fourth ending is a little bit different to the last, but besides from a few other things, it shows Mason telling Woods that he's retiring. So those are the 4 endings. However, which ending you get doesn't really matter, because post credits, after these have finished, you're going to get I don't know if you'd call it a secret ending, but it's definitely strange. And it's where Woods, Mason, Menendez, they join a rock band, specifically Avenged Sevenfold. Of course, they do a lot of the music for Call of Duty Zombies, and basically they play on the stage with them. And then we see all of the other characters that we've seen throughout the COD Black Ops campaign dancing on the dance floor. It's definitely a weird ending. It's funny. It's actually something I really wish Treyarch or any other studio would do again, because multiple endings is one thing, but something like this I think is really cool. So we can see Woods, Menendez and Mason join Avenged Sevenfold on the stage, and then we see all of the characters dancing around, and as you say in your comment, on the catwalk above the stage we also see one singular zombie dancing. Why is he there? Is it anything of importance? I wouldn't say so. I think this whole ending is just something not to take seriously. Of course, if this zombie was on the dance floor with everyone, he would probably eat them. So he's up there on his own. He's not really dancing. He's just kind of like shaking his head about and his arms, as zombies would do. So there's no storyline aspect to it. I guess you could kind of call it a little Easter egg to the zombies mode itself, but that's about it. I wouldn't look into it too much. Although I am quite glad I went back to to take a look at these. The next question from It's Your Boy Alex says, "Hey BOA, why is it always when you crouch down in front of the perk machines you get points?" So this has been an Easter egg in Zombies for the longest time, I believe since World at War, since we had the perks, which was like Shinonuma or Doris. It doesn't have any implication on the storyline from what I know, it's just an Easter egg that Treyarch have added in since the beginning. Why they decided to put it in the first place, we don't 100% know, but we can see you crouch down under the perk machine and then you get money. It's kind of like looking under a vending machine where you would find change that people have dropped over the years, and then the characters are taking it, kind of similar to real life, I guess. If you looked under a machine, there is a possibility there could be money under there, but again, it's nothing of too importance, it's just a cool Easter egg. It was in World at War, Black Ops 1, and then I think, did they remove it in Black Ops 2 or BO3? I can't remember off my head. It definitely wasn't in one of the games for some reason. I'm not sure why Treyarch didn't return it, but that's why. The next question of the day from David Aguirre says, "If I've pronounced your name wrong, dude, I am sorry, but you say, what happened to Richtofen from Moon, the 1.0 Ultimus version?" So we recently had this question answered in Classified. It had been a question since Black Ops 1 for years and years. We have just found out the answer to this, but if you're not up to date with the storyline or you haven't played BO4 for yourself or Classified, if you don't know, then I will go over it again. So we know all the way back in Black Ops 1 Moon, when Richtofen, Takeo, Nikolai and Dempsey travelled there with the golden rod and the focusing stone to allow Richtofen to take control of the zombies. That's exactly what he did. We saw him open up the MPD pyramid where he switched places with Samantha. Richtofen's soul went into Samantha's body inside of the MPD where he then took control of the zombies, and Samantha's soul went into Richtofen's body on the moon. And that was the end of the Easter egg. We then moved on to Transit and Nuketown with the Green Run characters, and we didn't hear from the Ultimus crew trapped on Moon again up until Buried, where we know once Maxis took control, he then plucked Samantha's soul out of Richtofen's body on Moon to join him in Ogotha. And this now left Takeo, Nikolai and Dempsey still trapped on the Moon. However, Richtofen, his body, since it no longer had a soul, was lifeless. He should have been completely dead. And again, that was the last time we heard of these characters for a very long time. In fact, that was it up until now in Classified, where we found out that shortly after, the scientists over at the Pentagon were doing experiments to try and link one of their teleporters to the ones on Griffin Station, Moon, and in an attempt to do this, they accidentally teleported the Ultimus crew from Moon down to Earth. But when they arrived here, they were in a very bad state. Takeo, Nikolai and Dempsey had basically lost their minds due to the amount of element 115 they'd been exposed to. They had almost turned crazy, and in fact, really should have been dead, but they weren't. The 115 should have killed them. And as for Richtofen, he was in a very bad state. As I said earlier, he was left without a soul, and so technically he should have been dead, but he still had activity in his brain. And so the scientists at the Pentagon captured all 4 of the Ultimus characters and locked them in a hangar. And then, as we know from there, zombified Richtofen, travelling from a alternate universe, opened up a rift into the prison where he came face to face with Ultimus Richtofen's body. He touched him and gave Ultimus Richtofen his soul, bringing him back to life. Once he did that, zombified Richtofen turned to dust, he faded away, ceased to exist, and so now all 4 of the Ultimus characters were alive, although a little crazy, but trapped in Hangar 4 in Classified. So that is where we are up to with the 1.0 version of Richtofen. The next question says, "Hey BOA, in Black Ops 1 and Kino Der Toten, you can get the Thundergun. You can also get it in one of the campaign missions. Can you tell me why, and does it have anything to do with zombies?" So yes, you're right, the Thundergun is of course a zombies weapon. However, it was in the Black Ops campaign in the mission Numbers. It is a similar Easter egg to one in World at War in the mission Little Resistance, where you could actually get yourself the ray gun, while in Numbers you can get the Thundergun. Now it doesn't have anything to do with zombies storyline wise, it's just a reference to it, it's just an Easter egg in the campaign. There's no meaning behind this, it's just something fun you can do. So yeah, there's no actual meaning to it. I think they also did a similar Easter egg to this in Black Ops 3 in that campaign, wasn't it, with the jet gun or something like that? that. It was definitely some wonder weapon, but I don't think you could actually use it. But anyway, guys, that is it. That is all I have for you for today's video. As always, hopefully you have enjoyed. If you have, you know what to do. Drop a like, rate, and of course, only if you want to. If not, it's totally fine. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest videos on the channel. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, goodbye.